football team. I think they didn't look as good as they could against Brazil, and you know, they out-executed what we do, and the score reflects that.
For Donaldson. France in the first game got out to that quick start. Happened again today. How tough is it to rebound when you look up at the scoreboard and all of a sudden it's 24-3 or 21-0?
I think we've tried to fight quite hard. It was just like minor details, like a guy sliding to the wrong gap and things like that, that gave them the explosiveness they needed to score early. So I think as a team we still fight no matter what the score is. I think you can see late in the game we're still fighting pretty hard. Yeah, obviously their level was a bit higher today. So.
Coach, 248 rushing yards against today. Obviously there's a talent differential between what we saw against South Korea and what France provided today. Outside of that, was there anything in particular that you saw that prevented the rush defense to be effective today against France?
You know, like 23 for France is a much better running back. You know, the offensive line is much better than what we faced before. And you know what I said to our guys after Korea is that, listen, you know, we make an average team look bad. You know, so and you know. France did the same to us. You know, there's a different level of play, and you know, when you have that, they make you look worse than maybe what you really are. But you know, that's the reality of the game today.
Offensively, it seems like you guys could never get, like, I guess, more than 1 or 2 first downs in a row. Were they doing anything in particular to stop the run? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well. They didn't do anything particular. They just have a really good defensive line. Mm-hmm. You know, as one of these guys I face in the GFL, is Mamadou Sai. You know, he's a beast in the GFL. I know this, and but they have a whole stable of good defensive linemen. And that was the big problem. Our offensive line had a big trouble today with wasn't running the ball or passing. You know, so you know that's the big guys in there. Overseen in the stat sheet, but that's what makes your offense or defense run is having good defensive linemen and good offensive linemen.
For you, what needs to happen on Wednesday for the team to look more like it did on Thursday than it did today?
I think we just need to continue what we're doing with our training sessions, turning up, playing hard. We turned up to play today. We just couldn't execute our plays as well as we thought we would. I think our line is well placed moving forward on the ball, but we just couldn't get passes off. It was a bit slippery conditions as well. We just need to just continue turning up like we have been all week, or the last 2 weeks, and just continue knuckling down. We'll get those points again.
Grant, obviously you just mentioned before slippery conditions played a part. How much did that play a part though, knowing that there were a lot of fumbles in this game and the passing game progressively got worse for both sides?
Well, as the game went on, the ball got heavier. That was one thing. The passes get heavier. But he's putting a lot more effort into it to try and get those meters. The ball's coming faster, so we have to shape up as a receiver core just to really get those passes knocked in when the ball's wet. Maybe do some condition training, get those hands working.
Coach, offensive line for them, how solid were they? I mean, they had a rush for 100 yards in the first half and another one do it in the second half. How strong was that offensive line, and what needs to happen to adjust?
You know, to be honest, you know, I looked at France's defensive line. I thought, you know, they were strong. I thought we'd do a better job with the offensive line, but I don't know if it's you know, before you watch the film, if it, you know, the run fits were not quite right, or you know, that kind of stuff. But I think they also came to play. That's for sure. I think if I would have to say without looking at the film first, I would say that we didn't have our run fits as good as we needed to be. And then it's early on in the game. Let's face it too. You know, tackling wasn't very good. So, and a couple of these runs were long runs too, right? So, and that's never a good thing, because now our defensive line is not doing their job. Linebackers and backfield is not making any tackles. So, overall, on defense, we just didn't play good enough, and we made them, have a great day on offense.
Damien, just going ahead into the next game now, can you give us just a really brief insight on what the players will be feeling like and their confidence levels now coming off a loss like this, heading into a game now against Brazil, which has been talked about as a winnable game for you guys?
Yeah, it's always going to be tough for us to bounce after a loss like we suffered today. But I think the guys, they really want to play hard in the next game, because we get to play a game after that, 2 more wins, and make this more of like a winning tournament for us as opposed to a 50-50 would be definitely what we're aiming for.
So, Coach, just touch on special teams a little bit. I know that hurt a little bit in the first half, the 2 returns. Is there any adjustments you need to make in that area, going forward?
Yeah, like we play the Braunschweig Lions twice a year, and what's his name? Double does that in the GFL. I see it all the time. And, he's a very good receiver and a returner. So yes, some of it you need to control, but on the other one you also need to respect that this is a very good returner. So credit goes to him as well for making plays.
Right.
And yes, we need to make sure that we convert to the ball better, and he can bounce outside. So one of the other things is while I'm thinking about this is that even NFL games sometimes end in a score like this. In the very next game, the team comes back and puts a score on the next opponent. So I'm very confident that our guys will bounce back and want to do better than what they did today. So and it's a matter of watching the film, making some corrections, and make a good plan for Brazil. So but if it's a return game, or we need to look at everything we do and see where we can do better and what we need to do to correct it.
Great, thanks.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks, John.